SportsZone. I'm your host, John Phillips, and we got a big job today. We are the committee for the college football playoff. I'm joined by Jack Strupsha, Jake Garcia, Oscar Chavez. Guys, it's almost playoff time. It's getting close. It's the end of the season, only a couple games left, and it's time to vote. You know, we are going to vote on our top 12 teams for the playoffs. Let's start with number one. Oscar, who is your number one team in the country?
Give me the mean green. No, I lied. I'm just kidding. You know, we're gonna take it a little bit serious. So I got Ohio State. You have the best two wide receivers in the country with Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith, who basically looks like Calvin Johnson 2.0. And then you have the best defensive player and leader in Caleb Downs. It is the best roster in football. They have championship pedigree after winning the national championship. It's Ohio State at 1.
I mean, the soft schedule doesn't concern you a little bit because, I mean, have they beaten anyone?
They haven't changed my mind, you know. They haven't messed up enough to change my mind. Ohio State, yes, it's cakewalk, but they're dominating each and every one of their opponents. So with that said, that Michigan game is really going to be the kicker with Ohio State. They could be moved all the way to 4th in my rankings, but right now they sit at 1.
I mean, Jacob, how do you feel about that? Do you agree that Ohio State's the best team in the country?
I got to agree with Oscar here. Ohio State is the number one team in the country. Like you said, the cakewalk schedule, that's the biggest criticism Ohio State's receiving, but they are dominating these teams. I think they're allowing right over 7 points a game. They're just absolutely just demolishing these teams. And so, like he said, the Michigan game is the biggest test. I'm excited to see how that goes. But you can't hurt them for the soft schedule, just even if they're dominating them like they are. So Ohio State clear number 1.
That's fair. I mean, I don't know if I have them as the number one team in their own conference. I can't lie. I think that my number one team in the country has to be Indiana. I mean, what they've done this season, I didn't expect it coming into the season, but Fernando Mendoza and the Hoosiers are the best team in the country. I mean, that Illinois game really just paints the picture for me completely. They dominated a ranked team in the top 25. I don't think there's any team that's been playing better ball than them this season, and I think that should be the number one seed.
I just don't know. We look at the Penn State game. You go to double overtime against a team that just doesn't look like the same team that they were just a year ago. Indiana, I love Mendoza. I don't think he's going to be that top 5 draft pick that everybody's saying. He has some talent, but the crazy rocket arm, I don't see it. The crazy athleticism, I don't see it. He takes a while when those good teams start. We saw it against a little bit of Oregon. We saw it against Penn State, who aren't good. So just imagine when you're facing an SEC school like Georgia or Alabama in the playoffs, I think he's going to crumble.
I mean, do you agree, Jack? Do you think that Fernando Mendoza is bound to crumble in the playoffs versus these real teams?
Not bound to, fall in the playoffs, but I do agree with a lot of what you said. I mean, not the most athletic guy, but I mean, he's a game manager. He's a different kind of quarterback. You know, he makes good decisions. Obviously, we've seen some slow starts against some of those better teams on the Indiana schedule. And, I mean, I do think their Penn State game, that is a little concerning. I mean, you're one miraculous toe tap catch at the end of the game away from potentially losing to a James Franklin-less Penn State team at the time. So a little concerning, and that's why they're a little lower on my personal list.
That's fair. And speaking of your personal list, who is your number one team in the country?
Oh, John, I thought you never asked. A lot of good teams, when I look at this first college football playoff poll. But when I look at teams who I think deserve to not only be in that poll, but deserve to hold the number one spot, I think you got to have a good resume built up to this point in the season, margin of error, not who you've necessarily beat, but who you've lost to as well. I got the Bulldogs as the number one team in the nation right now. Okay. Ohio State, absolutely right. What they've done defensively, especially those numbers, very impressive. But, Georgia lost against a hot Alabama team at the time, a month or two back. But their wins against ranked opponents, and I think that's what sets them apart from these other teams at the top.
So the only point with Georgia for me is Stockton. I have Georgia pretty high up in my being fourth place. Mm-hmm. But Stockton, like Mendoza, we were talking about it, he's a game manager. He's the leading rusher in touchdowns on the Georgia Bulldog team. What does that tell you? That means their run game isn't as elite as years past. We've seen them win national championships with great running backs, Sony Michel, Bradley Chubb. Or not Bradley Chubb, Nick Chubb. Well, we've seen it right then and there, that they have a winning formula. And I don't think it's winning this year.
But I think it's not really fair to compare him to Mendoza because I'm taking Gunnar Stockton as an athlete perspective 10 times more because the way they run him, if they could use his legs and he could take the game over with his legs where Fernando Mendoza really can't for Indiana. Right. They're similar quarterbacks, and I know the point you're trying to make, but they run him because he could change the game with his arm and legs. So I think Georgia kind of has that advantage offensively where Indiana doesn't really have that.
You said the one thing that set them apart was who they beat, the ranked wins. But I'd say the one thing that set them apart is the loss in the schedule. They are the only team in that top 4 to have a loss. I mean, does that loss not make their resume worse than the other teams?
I mean, I'm in a way, yeah, because those are some undefeated teams ahead of them. But Texas A&M, I mean, one terrible first half against South Carolina. Second half was really great, so I don't really knock anything against them. You can make an argument for them to be number 1, in my opinion. But Indiana and Ohio State, I mean, I like cheering for Indiana. Program history of a year. All the records they're doing. Coach Signetti, big fan of his. But I just can't really say I think that's the number 1 team in the country if there's nothing on their schedule up to this point that really says they beat this team and deserve to be
I think
there.
you taking Georgia number 1 shows where you place the SEC in terms of the Big Ten. Because I mean, the SEC obviously Southeastern Conference. This is physical football. You know what I mean?
Right.
And Georgia does have that one loss to Alabama. But the SEC is just, I still think the best conference in college football. I'm going to believe that. That's how it's been. Not much has changed. So I don't think Georgia number 1's too crazy, but I'm still got to put Ohio State there. So
What do you think is that difference maker? What do you think puts Ohio State number 1 for you over Georgia?
like I said, it was the dominance. I mean, they haven't been tested against a team. We thought that the Texas game was the test for them because Texas came in preseason ranked number 1, and look how Texas has turned out. Yeah. So they haven't been tested. They're going to get tested in the playoff and against Michigan too, because that game's never an easy game. Rivalry game, and they're playing in Michigan, in Ann Arbor, which that sounds like an upset to me, but who knows? We'll see how that goes. But I want to see Ohio State tested, but it's like I said earlier, it's in the fashion that they are dominating these teams.
That's fair. And I mean, we have 2 people saying Ohio State's number 1. We might have to put them in that number 1 spot.
Yeah.
But at the number 2 spot, that's where it gets a little interesting. We have the Georgia with the 1 loss. We have Indiana and even Texas A&M. Who do you guys think would fill that second spot behind Ohio State?
It's going to be the Heisman-winning quarterback from A&M. It's going to be Marcel Reed winning it for Texas A&M at that number 2 spot. Marcel Reed has just been crazy through the air, through the ground. His averages is 2,632 passing yards on the season, 22 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 391 rushing yards, and 6 touchdowns. He's an elite rushing attack, and that O-line play is just getting a lot bigger in that SEC play. They have designed runs, great defense. I think the best thing about them is their defense and their ability to blend their run game with their defense, because if you're able to run out the clock like A&M does with Marcel Reed, you don't need to pass it that much. It gives your defense all the time in the world to just breathe on the sideline.
That's fair. I mean, Jacob, who do you think is that number 2 team?
This one was one that I had to take a little more thought into. I was really torn between Indiana and A&M here, but I'm going to give the edge to A&M just because of, well, for me what really did it was the South Carolina game, right? Awful first half, down 30-3. To be able to fight through the fire like that, I get it was at home, and I get it's South Carolina, who's South Carolina,
they have some talent.
SEC team. But the way that they fought back, I was very impressed by that and showed they're resilient. They already have a top defense. They held them South Carolina to no points in that second half, and Marcel Reed having the legs, athleticism he does, to give me Texas A&M at number 2.
That's fair. I mean, I think we know your number 2 team, considering you had Georgia number 1.
Yeah.
Do you think that, those are 2 SEC teams. I mean, do you think that the SEC has a national champion this year?
I mean, maybe. I mean, I do like the trend, these last couple years because, the saying SEC runs college football, but, Ohio State last year, Michigan the year before. I think really we've seen the theme that the blue blood teams are really the ones who make the further push. So I would say OSU at 2, but I do agree going along with this, OSU 1 and then A&M at 2. I just give them the edge. I'm very high on Marcel Reed as well, but just the balance we've seen from them this year. We've seen that they can win games by putting points on the board, but also shutting other offenses down. So I like A&M at 2. They're having a great year.
That's fair. I guess we can agree on A&M at 2. And I think we've talked extensively about the top 4. We know that it's Ohio State. We know it's Texas A&M. We know Indiana and Georgia are in those 3 and 4 spots. Let's talk about where it really starts to get a little crazy. That number 5 spot. Who do you guys think is that next best team after those 4?
I think it got to go Texas Tech. They have a massive defensive turnaround. No one has ever really talked about Texas Tech highly in that defense. They've only had a great offense, kind of like the UNT being green. But with Jacob Rodriguez doing so good as a defender, I mean, you're going to see some highlights coming up right now. But they've just have Jacob Rodriguez. They also have the lead nation in sacks with David Bailey at 12.5 sacks. Cupcake schedule with no ranked teams, yes, but they have a great running back room, and I can only see Texas Tech really making a push as the 5th seed. You know?
And Jacob Rodriguez, you mentioned him. I mean, he is a game breaker. I think in a year that's kind of weak offensively, he could be the Heisman for me. I mean, he's been that impactful for that defense. And Texas Tech, you said no ranked teams, but I think they've beaten some solid teams. You know, they beat Houston. They blew them out. They blew out BYU. I mean, they've beaten some really solid teams. I really like that pick. Jacob, how do you feel about that?
Texas Tech at 5. It's a clear 5 for me out of all the one-loss teams. Jacob Rodriguez, like you said, he's really a game wrecker. He's a ball hawk. I think he has 4 interceptions this year. He's got a great first name, too, by the way. Shout out Jacob Rodriguez.
That's okay.
But like you said, the BYU game, they just dominated from start to finish, the line of scrimmage. BYU looked lost out there. Yeah. And I think, and same for the Utah game. So the offense is just super explosive. The defense is doing what they have to do. Give me Texas Tech at 5. I think they can make some noise in the playoffs, too, this year. So I'm excited to see.
Yeah, that oil money has really, bought them a roster. The oil money has made them go crazy. I mean, do you agree that they're number 5?
Yeah, I got the Red Raiders at 5 as well. I mean, I think them doing what they did in the transfer portal this offseason has really proven to have done them right, And in a year, you guys made some great points on Rodriguez. I'd really like to see, a defensive player, a guy like him, win it this year in a season where we haven't seen a clear offensive dominant player. So, yeah, Red Raiders at 5.
That's fair. I mean, I think at NTTV, we have to talk about the group of 5 spot. I think that's something we have to mention. Who do you guys think deserves that spot? Who gets it? Who do you think, Oscar?
The Mean Green. I mean, we have to. Who is Tulane? Who is JMU? It's the Mean Green. And Jacob, take it away. Because JMU, Tulane?
Yeah, tell me.
Okay, so the rankings actually coming out and showing that Tulane is at 24 just confirms that the American is going to get the nod. JMU is out of it unless by some miracle Tulane has a loss or North Texas in the coming weeks and the winner has 2 losses of the American. That's when JMU would take it over. But JMU, cupcake schedule, they played an actual Power 4 team, Louisville. I mean, 28-14. So JMU should not even be in the conversation. Tulane shouldn't even be. UTSA dog walked them. Yep. Give me the Mean Green. It has to be the Mean Green at the 12th seed in the group of 5 spot. So that's what we'll see in the coming weeks.
Yeah, I just don't really understand the Tulane love. I mean, they lost to UTSA, like you said. With that bad of a loss, I just don't understand
the teams that they have beat from the Power 4, that's the thing, the strength of schedule. Duke, Duke,
it's not that impressive. Like Washington State and Duke are pretty similar level wins, I'd say. I do not really understand.
And the fashion that we beat Washington State.
Absolutely.
The fashion that we've beat everybody on our schedule. I mean, I would just think that, at least this committee would pay some respect to the number 1 scoring offense in the nation. And not just that, but we have the number 1 turnover margin.
This feels like the type of team the committee would love. A big quarterback, big story, an offense that's explosive. I just really don't understand why we're so underrated. But speaking of underrated, I mean, are there any teams that you think are going to or should make the playoffs that maybe aren't in the picture right now, or aren't in the playoff picture right now?
No, not really. I think everybody in there. Maybe Virginia can sneak in and make some noise. I really like Virginia. I have them just outside of my 12 playoff format. But I think Virginia, with the Georgia Tech, if Georgia Tech loses, Virginia's in.
That ACC is definitely
going to
very, very
interesting.
ACC has been one of the weirdest conferences we've seen.
Chandler Morris. Shout
out Chandler Morris. We will have to see with the rest of the season. There's a lot that could happen. At this commercial break, we will be looking at our own Nashville Lowry in a father-son commercial. Join me after these break.
To bond on a different level, whether it's playing or watching. Nothing beats hanging out with your dad and talking sports. In our Kia Inside Story, Pat Doney found a father and son whose love for sports and broadcasting crossed paths one Friday afternoon in Prosper.
It was the most anticipated game in the state for Week 9 of the regular season. Prosper versus Allen. And for Allen radio broadcaster Kerry Lowry,
we're at Children's Health Stadium in Prosper, Texas.
And his son Nash, the Prosper ISD color commentator.
Look at the middle action, a banana peels in the middle.
It was a chance of a lifetime.
It's very special. I can't even tell you how surreal it is to be in a booth next to him. As soon as he kind of got hooked up with Prosper, I thought, uh-oh. This is about to happen.
To have it be at this level, it's incredible. The up and coming versus the already crowned, which is in a way it's me versus my dad. That's the kind of environment that we're going into.
This will be the 13th play of this little drive.
Kerry has been the color analyst for Allen games for the past 20 years.
Tonight is an opportunity to clinch a district championship.
While Nash is in his first season commentating for Prosper ISD.
Lateral leg, Ellis, and then Boozer going left to right.
But their love for calling games has been their connection almost from birth. While Dad's voice was coming over the radio,
And they settle for a field goal, which they will from time to time.
Nash was there, listening, learning, and trying to be like his role model.
Growing up with the encyclopedia of knowledge that is my dad next to me, it always pushed me to never think that I knew enough about my own team, even though the research and preparation that I had done might be enough. It was never enough for me because it's okay, well, I still don't know enough because he's able to rattle off so much more.
Make sure that you're telling the story. The people expect you to be the smartest guy in the room and teach them things without making them sound like you're telling them because they're dumb.
And it all culminated in this moment, the biggest game on the grandest stage, with Dad on one side of the booth and son on the other.
Unbelievable to even be in the booth at the same game, much less in the opposite booths.
A dream come true for the Lowry family.
I've really been looking forward to this, to see him on the other side where now it's, okay, you're off the leash, you got to fly out of the nest, and I'm going to watch you and actively, try and root against you in a sort of way. I've been really telling everybody about it.
I listen to him and I don't critique, and I expect him to critique me, actually. He's getting to that point where he's going to surpass and start critiquing me, but
Wow, what an opportunity for Nash. One of the most talented people I've ever met in my entire life. I can't believe he made it big. But for this blog, we are talking UNT football. I'm joined by Ian Cropper and Bowie Devlin. Guys, we are ranked. I mean, we are top 25 in the AP poll, number 22. It's the first time since 1959. How do you guys feel about it?
I'm loving every bit of this. The country is finally seeing what Drew Mestemaker and Caleb Hawkins and just the whole team has to offer to the country. I just think that this momentum that we have right now is just something we haven't seen out of a G5 school in a while, a long time.
Yeah, I mean, we have just been so impressive. UNT has been so good this year that what do you think about this start? I mean,
first off, I got to shout out myself several months ago when I said we wouldn't get ranked even if we had a great season. I've made some bad predictions, but this is one I'm happy it was wrong. It's just so good to be ranked. Fun fact, the North Texas Mean Green have never been ranked nationally. Last time we were ranked, we were the North Texas State Eagles. Ending this 66-year drought is historic for the school, and I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, I mean, we have just been so good. And last week was more of the same as we dominated UAB, and now we have Rice coming up. They're fighting for bowl eligibility. I mean, kind of a dangerous place to play a team. I mean, how do you guys think we are going to do against Rice?
I believe that as long as we contain their number one strength, the run, I think that it will just be something that will help us out. The run is the biggest part of what has been kind of questionable for us all year. So, if we contain that, I think we just control the game.
Yeah, because Rice's coach, Scott Abel, this is his first year at Rice, and he is run heavy. Their quarterback, he's averaging less than 100 yards per game passing. This is not an offense that likes to pass the ball at all. Do you think that our run defense has evolved enough throughout the season where we're going to be able to stop them?
I think it has made good enough strides to put up a respectable effort against Rice. But you know what they say, the best defense is a good offense. And even if we do give up some run plays, this is still a team that drops 30, 40, 50 points on opponents every week throughout the American Conference. So I still do heavily prefer UNT in this game.
Yeah, I definitely think that we have good odds to win this game. And if we do, there's one game left in the season. It's just Temple after that. Do you think that playoffs are knocking? Are we on the door of the playoffs?
We have control our own destiny. It is right in front of us. We have to win out. Everything is on the line for the Mean Green. I just think that the momentum we're on and just what we're riding gives us an advantage over JMU and Tulane.
Speaking of that playoffs, though, we were disrespected in the poll. We have to talk about it. 22nd in the AP poll, not a mention in the CFP poll. Ian, why are they disrespecting us like that?
I think they just look down on us because we're a G5 team. It's the unfortunate truth, but I do think if we can win out, it looks like we're going to face either Navy or Tulane in the American Conference final. And I do like us in both those matchups, especially since we already beat Navy. And if that happens, it'll be close between us and James Madison, but I do think we have what it takes to make the playoffs.
That's fair. Bowie, I mean, do you like us against the Navy or Tulane in that conference championship game?
Oh, I believe that we're heavily favored in both. I mean, just the way that we are playing in #1 offense in the country. I mean, come on. You can't tell me that is not something to admire. It's just like, it's beautiful. It's just something that is what makes the mean green, as John Gruden said on his latest video.
And this offense, we have to talk about Messmaker. We've been talking about him all season because he has been that guy. He's been the best player on our team, and he's been leading us to our best season in modern history. Do you think he could maybe lead us a little bit further? Do you think that Messmaker and this offense are so dangerous that we could sneak a playoff win?
Unfortunately, no. Like, I hate to be that guy, but I have to be realistic. Even though it sucks how the College Football Playoff Committee treats G5 teams, there's a reason they do that, and that's just because the Power Four are the Power Four. But still, if we make the playoffs, score a few points against a powerhouse like Georgia, I'm not going to be ashamed of that. We made it further than we had any right to, and this is still a historic season.
That's fair. I mean, Bowie, do you think that we can make some noise in that playoffs?
I do. I mean, depending on who we play, we could play Georgia, we could play Oregon, we could play Ole Miss, we could play any of those. And considering we have the #1 offense in the country, I truly think we could hang 17 points on them. Do I think we win? Probably not. But I think that if we have a few promising drives and make it look interesting for a quarter or two, I think that's just what it's probably going to be.
I think 17 points. Come on, you got to give us a little bit more credit than that. We have the best true freshman running back in the league. I mean, Caleb Hawkins, Drew Messmaker. Why? You don't think that is a team that can score 20 plus in the playoffs? I mean,
I'm just trying to be moderate. I'm not saying that we can't do it. I'm just saying we need to prove it. We need to prove it.
I mean, what have we been doing all season if not proving that we can hang in all these games and our offense is one of the best in the nation? I mean, Ian, do you think that this offense is one of the most talented in the nation?
In terms of how it's performed, yes, but you got to keep in mind we've been going in against other American Conference teams, not these group of 5 powerhouses that are going to be in the college football playoffs. That's why I'm not optimistic about our chances of winning if we make it.
That's fair. And I mean, let's look a little bit more at this Rice game. You know, we talked about stopping the run and how it's one of the most important parts of the game, but this is a hot Rice team. You know, they're 2-1 in their last 3. They beat UConn, who have been really, really talented this year, and they also have a quarterback that's been really hot this year at UConn. You know, Joe Fagano, he's, I think, 24 touchdowns before he threw a pick this season, so they have experience beating those talented offenses. Do you think that they'll be able to continue their hot momentum against us?
I mean, it really just depends on what happens. I mean, it could go either way. We'll have to see.
Look, kudos to Rice for their momentum, but they're going up against a brick wall and an explosive. This is going to be a shootout, and I do think UNT has what it takes to pull away decisively.
That's fair. And then looking at the final game of the season, we will play Temple. You know, and they've kind of turned it around this season. Temple's been a program that's been pretty terrible these past couple of years, and they hired Casey Keeler from Sam Houston State, and they turned it around. They were almost bowl eligible this season. I mean, does that scare you a little bit at all, that game?
I personally don't think so. I mean, we still have the #1 offense in the country. I don't see them scaring us much at all. Maybe they hang around for a quarter or two, but I just think we thump them like 49-10 or something.
I would agree with a score like that. This is going to be our home closer, all the momentum, all these big wins, just one more and we're in the conference championship. I think we squash Temple.
I mean, some would say that's why we may lose, that banana peel. You know, we get it in our heads, oh, we're right at the college football playoff, we're right there, and then, you know, we slip up. But I think that this offense has been too talented. We have Drew Messmaker, and like we've all said, he has just been one of the best players in college football. Do you think that he should be in some Heisman consideration, or do you think he should be getting more love this season?
I believe so. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, he's in an award for one of the Manning Awards, which is very highly recognized. And I think that, you know, maybe he could get a Heisman vote. I don't know. The numbers that he's been putting up, he has to get some kind of recognition from the higher ups.
That's fair. And speaking of recognition, you know, we kind of don't want the Power Fives to recognize our players. Do you think that we'll be able to hold on to the Messmakers, the Caleb Hawkins, even Eric Morris? Do you think we'll be able to, you know, hold on to them for another season?
Yeah, this is another place where sadly I'm not optimistic. With the state of the transfer portal and name, image, and likeness, I do think that we see a lot of these big names transfer to Power 4 schools. Actually, Bowie and I were talking about this earlier. We could see someone like Messnamaker going to Oregon after the season.
I mean, I think Messnamaker has the talent. I mean, I think Messnamaker, Hawkins, and Eric Morris all could go to that top level. Do you agree, Bowie?
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier talking with him, he could go to Oregon, he could go to Ole Miss, he could go to somewhere where maybe one of those big schools is losing their contender players for the draft, so he would fill in that spot. Hawkins, I'm not sure. He's like a Charbonnet and Scattaboo 2.0. So, I mean, who knows where he's going to go?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, maybe if we make the playoffs and win a game, we can convince them to stay, but it's going to be very hard to do. Next block, we'll be talking about the Dallas Cowboys. Join me after these commercial breaks.
There's no harm in wanting to have fun while in college, but it's easy to lose track of how much you've had. Apps like Drink Control and Alkadroid can help keep track of your consumption and blood alcohol levels. If you or someone else does drink too much, the signs of alcohol poisoning are as follows: pale skin, vomiting, confusion, low body temperatures, irregular breathing, blacking out, and it's hard to wake up or cannot be woken up.
Dude, are you okay? Hey, what's wrong? Wake up.
It's an exciting time of year, but it's important to be responsible. If you suspect someone is suffering from alcohol poisoning, get help immediately. You will not get in trouble for seeking help if you are underage. For more info and resources, go to UNT's Division of Student Affairs.
Are you tired of seeing the same old city? You want to learn something and go overseas? Then study abroad with one of many UNT Study Abroad programs. You can find a Study Abroad office right here at Markey Hall, room 145.
My study abroad program left on me a great impression. We have a lot of different programs and it varies. We have faculty-led, affiliate, and exchange programs. When you're ready to leave for your study abroad program from UNT, you're going to go through pre-departure orientation and modules so that you are prepared.
The power to turn the world into your classroom is right here at UNT with our study abroad programs. Take flight and take in charge of your education.
Are you looking for a fun club with travel opportunities? Dive into the UNT Swim Club. Practicing Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays from 7 to 9 p.m. at the Pole Recreation Center. We accept members at any skill level. For more information, reach out to us at unt.swimclub on Instagram.
Welcome back to SportsZone. I'm your host, John Phillips, and we have some familiar faces to talk Dallas Cowboys, Ian Cropper and Bowie Devlin. You guys were here last block to talk UNT football. Moving up to the pros, Dallas Cowboys also had a good week last week, beating the Raiders 33-16. How'd you guys feel about that game?
I loved every aspect of it. I just think that Dak continuing to just ball out, putting himself in that top 5 race at QB. Pickens, I mean, come on, bro. This guy is number 2 behind Jackson Smith and Jigba right now, is one of the best receivers in the NFL. And then his counterpart, CeeDee Lamb, who is putting up just this almost insane amount of numbers. I mean, it's one of the best duos in the league. That
offense has been absurd this season, but I think there's another side of the ball we have to talk about. That Cowboys defense, they had made a lot of moves at the trade deadline, picking up Quinnen Williams, picking up a lot of important pieces like that, and it worked. I mean, Ashton Jeanty, 7 yards.
I mean, that is huge, but we got to consider this is against the Las Vegas Raiders. That is not a very well-run offense. In fact, I'll say it. Chip Kelly is currently the worst offensive coordinator in the league. How he's mismanaging Jeanty needs to be studied. It is a crime. Now, we did make good progress. Quinnen Williams made an immediate impact in our game against the Raiders, but not only is that unit bad, their O-line is injured. So that was a good sign, but I still think it's too early to say this is a great defense, especially since Matt Eberflus is still calling plays.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of question marks you can still have, but for the first performance from this new look defense, I think it's about as good as you can get. Bowie, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I just think everything, it just looked great. I mean, Geno Smith looked under pressure as always. And then just the defensive line just doing their job. The secondary actually looked promising. You know, Bland wasn't getting torched and tripped up.
I will say, yeah, not great competition. You know, the Raiders aren't that talented offensively, but Deron Bland did have, I'd say, his best game of the season. I think he really looked like he might be ready to bounce back and be back to his old form.
Yeah, sure.
And, I mean, Geno Smith was the leading rusher for that game. There's not much you can say. I mean, the offense was just terrible for the Raiders. But we got a real test coming up. Next week, the Cowboys are playing the Eagles. I mean, the division leaders, 8-2. That's a bit of a tougher test. Ian, do you think that that's going to be one that they can pass?
Believe it or not, I actually have the Cowboys in the upset. Now, on paper, Philly is the far better team. The offensive talent levels are similar, but they're far more stacked on defense, and Vic Fangio is a far better play caller than Eberflus. The problem is, I think Schottenheimer is a better offensive play caller than Kevin Patullo. We've seen their uber-talented offense be held in check all season. Hell, it almost cost them a game when we played them in the season opener. So coming back home to Dallas, I think that makes a difference. I have the Cowboys 33-30.
That's fair. I mean, that offense in Philadelphia has definitely had a lot of, struggles this season, both off the field and on the field. Bowie, do you think that that's going to hurt them coming into this game?
Yeah, I mean, Patullo is just not doing his job at all. I think that with that talent, I mean, even A.J. Brown said that he isn't getting any, reception. He isn't getting enough recognition. He's being withheld the yards that I think he deserves. And Dallas has a way better offense than the Eagles do. I mean, it's significant. There's a significant difference.
You talked about that duo earlier for the Cowboys, Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, how they've been incredible this year, especially George Pickens, while the Eagles have kind of had the opposite. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith have both kind of struggled. Do you think that the Cowboys might have a better receiving duo than the Eagles? I mean, Ian, do you think that the Cowboys have more talent there?
It is close, but I would say yes. I think I'd rank the Cowboys as the third best receiving duo in the league behind the Rams and Bengals, and the Eagles as fourth. Now, the difference is that the Cowboys utilize their receivers much better, and I will say, we got to commend them for that George Pickens move. It was risky bringing him in from Pittsburgh due to those character concerns, but it's absolutely panned out.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I had a lot of question marks about the George Pickens move and really if they needed to pick up a wide receiver because they had a lot of holes on that team. But George Pickens has been a top 5 receiver in the league this year. I mean, Bowie, how good has he been?
I mean, he's cold. He's cold. He right behind Jackson Smith and Jigba, like I said, just playing absolute insane ball. Dak's number 1 pretty much. I mean, and then CD is just that adding factor.
Yeah, but we've talked about the offenses a little bit. Last week, Cowboys held GT to 7 yards. We got a much tougher test coming up with Saquon Barkley, kind of maybe the best running back in the league. How do you think this Cowboys defense is going to hold up against, one of the best offensive lines in the league and Saquon Barkley?
Well, I think the bigger factor with Saquon, like we've been saying, is Kevin Patullo. Because after that generational season, once we got Patullo in, it's like, where's Saquon? Can the real Saquon Barkley please stand up? He's only had one game this season over 100 rushing yards. Against us earlier in the season, he had just 60 yards on 18 carries. Given how bad our run defense is, that is almost inexplicable. Now, I don't want to say he's completely out. He can always just explode for hundreds of yards. After all, in his first game against the Giants, he only had 50. In the second game, 150. So I don't want to discount him entirely, but still, it's been a steep fall off for the former Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, I mean, these past 2 games where the Eagles offense has really seen the most struggles, 16 combined points in the past 2 weeks. Saquon hasn't hit 100 either. I mean, do you think that he's going to bounce back against us?
I don't see him breaking 100 because Patullo exists. I do see him having 80 yards and a receiving touchdown because that's just what he is. I feel like his receiving aspect of his game isn't talked about enough. He's almost as good with that as Jahmyr Gibbs. So, I mean, he's going to be under 100, but I still think he scores.
So, I mean, if you hold him under 100, we heard Ian thinks that we're going to upset the Eagles. Do you agree with that? Do you think that we'll be able to get the W there?
Yeah, I believe Dallas wins 30-20. I believe that Dallas wins by 10 points. I just think that all this momentum, Dallas is fighting for that 7 spot. Got the Panthers and the Niners above them, hoping that they lose. I just think that Dak is going to ball out, the offense is going to ball out, the rushing defense is going to contain Saquon, and the Bland will guarantee we'll get a pick.
I mean, bold prediction, but you mentioned something very important there, and that is that the Cowboys are hunting for that 7 seed. They're kind of, they're a little bit out of the picture right now, but they have the momentum, like you said. How do you guys see the rest of the season going? What do you guys see their record being?
Well, I have our final record as 9-7-1. I actually only think we lose 2 more games for the rest of the season because if you look at the rest of our schedule, these are all winnable games. I think the 2 losses are next week versus the Chiefs. That is a tough matchup. They match us offensively with Patrick Mahomes, but their defense is so much stronger. And then the next week going into Detroit against the machine that is the Lions offense. I think that's our loss. But look at the rest of our schedule. Versus Vikings, versus Chargers, at Commanders, at Giants. Those are all very winnable games, and I think we do win those. But in my predictions, that still puts us 1 game behind Green Bay for that 7th seed.
That's fair. Bowie, I mean, how do you see the rest of the season going?
I think that Dallas also finishes 9-7-1, and I do think that the 2 losses are to the Lions and, like he said, the
Chiefs.
The Chiefs. So it's just going to be really hard fight down the stretch. The Niners are in that 7 spot. It's going to be a real test. The Niners are going to have to drop a few. So we'll see.
Yeah, we also have the Panthers and Packers to look out for.
I'm a little less confident. I can't lie. I think that Chargers game is one where they could be in a little bit of trouble. I think Justin Herbert is a quarterback that gives his team a chance to win in any game they play. And I think that that's a game we could struggle in. And I think that the Commanders and Minnesota, even though they've struggled this season and have question marks at quarterback, I think they both have coaching staffs that I trust and that could always make a game dangerous.
That is true, but I'm not particularly intimidated in Minnesota by 9. Maybe our pass defense makes him look like a better quarterback, but he has not been the best. And for the Chargers, on paper, they should be the better team. The problem is their offensive line has been decimated by injuries. With a playmaker like Quinnen Williams, I think that's the game where he makes the biggest impact.
That's fair. I mean, so you don't think we make the playoffs, but that's because of that slow start mostly. With the momentum we have, if the Cowboys make the playoffs, do you think that they can make some noise in the NFC?
I believe so because depending on right now it's looking like they would play either the Eagles or they would play the Bears, either one of those. So, I mean, either one of those are pretty scary matchup. I do see them hanging some points. On the road, it's questionable. It's questionable.
That's fair. This team definitely has had some struggles this season. I don't know if the Bears are really a scary opponent. We'll have to see. There's not much of the season left. That's all the time we have. Next block, we'll be talking about football as we talk about the World Cup qualifiers. Join me after these commercial breaks.
Craving something fresh, flavorful, and made just for you? Look no further than Avesta, your go-to destination for a delicious, full-service dining experience. Dive into our customizable omelets, expertly crafted by our talented cook Jonathan, who guarantees every bite is perfection. All our dishes are handmade, prepared with only the freshest ingredients. Explore our assembly line where you can choose from any of our globally inspired dishes or customize your plate. It's that easy. And let's not forget dessert. Indulge your sweet tooth with treats from Clark Bakery. With convenient payment methods including card or flex, it's the perfect dining spot for any occasion. Quench your thirst with our wide selection of drinks. Just hand your drinking card to our friendly waiter, and they'll bring your beverage of choice right to your table. When you're done savoring every last bite, our attentive staff will whisk away your tray. Enjoy the peaceful ambiance as you dine in, or use our takeout option for a meal on the go. Avesta.
I use Flex to buy my favorite snacks.
I use Flex to get me through my mornings.
I use Flex at my favorite campus restaurants. I love how Flex is a cashless payment method and can be used at all campus dining venues.
So, how do you use Flex?
Looking to open a free checking or savings account but don't know where to start? Check out DatQ Credit Union right here on campus. Get your Mean Green debit card instantly or apply for a DatQ Visa credit card today. Your school, your card. Plus, make deposits at their 24/7 ATM, checks or cash whenever you need it. Make sure to sign up for DatQ's online banking platform and mobile app for easy access anytime, anywhere. Visit them at www.datq.org to learn more. DatQ, the official financial institution of UNT Athletics.
Welcome back to SportsZone. I'm your host, John Phillips, and for this final block, I'm joined by Christian Bursich and Gunnar Talbot. We are talking about the World Cup. It's almost time. It's next year, guys. I mean, qualifying is almost over. There's only 6 spots left. But let's talk about what has happened so far. You know, a lot of teams have really impressed me this cycle. Who's impressed you the most so far this cycle out of any confederation?
Big Panama guy here. I love the memes. Like, obviously, the jokes, the Panama Canal with the whole Trump thing saying we're taking it back. And I love the jokes. It's like, the World Cup's in the USA. We're going to show them what's up then. And Panama, they've done it. Panama's played great. They're currently leading their group, looking like they're going to be a real contender in the World Cup. And I wouldn't say that Panama's a team that we can expect to make a run. But we're going to be happy if they make it and play a few good games in the World Cup.
No, definitely shout out, like you said, Panama. First time they've qualified since I think 1974.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a way while. But for me, my most impressive teams, shout out Ivory Coast. All right, in Africa, they have they're sitting on 26 points. They're 8-2. 0-2. They haven't lost a game. They have a 25-point goal differential in AFCON.
And the most impressive thing, they haven't allowed a goal in qualifying
No,
yet.
yes. And like the second place team, they're in a hard group. Gabon is also 8-1-1. Like they're in a hard group and they're undefeated.
Gabon really impressed you. I mean, Aubameyang is always going to be talented. You know, he's been at Arsenal, Dortmund, he's been at all those places, but they haven't really had the talent around him. But this cycle has been the best that they've had, and it maybe his last cycle.
Probably,
but with this expanded World Cup, I think we have to talk about all the new countries that are coming in, because the bigger field has really allowed countries to debut for the first time. You know, we have Jordan, Uzbekistan, we have Suriname could qualify, and then Curacao, the smallest ever country to qualify for the World Cup. 150,000 people in the entire country.
Yeah, no,
and they made the World Cup. I mean, which of those teams that are making their debut do you have the most confidence in going in?
I think that what you just listed is a great example. I mean, that there are some cities in America that have millions of people.
A lot more people.
We can't field great soccer teams. I mean, you're talking about smaller nations, like Jordan's a big one. I think that Jordan, although they're not doing they're probably not going to make an appearance in the World Cup. It's great, like you talk about, like you're seeing these countries, you're like, wow, I've never seen them play before. Slovenia, I'm sure Slovenia has been around and qualified before. But they're a country that a lot of people have eyes on now. Like Luka, international superstar, everyone loves him. I was watching Slovenia play the other day, and I was impressed. Like, small country, but you can clearly tell that these European countries, like, this is everything to them.
Yeah, like it's awesome having like these new countries like Jordan, Uzbekistan, Curacao. But at the end of the day, let's get down to brass tacks.
Yeah, I think we got
It's between Europe and South America.
Yeah,
right?
Europe and South America are always going to win the World Cup. It's never not going to be one of those two continents. And last year we saw Argentina win South America's first World Cup since 2002. It was a rare break in the European dominance. I mean, do you guys think that could continue this year, another South America World Cup, or do you think we're back to Europe?
I think we're back to Europe, all right? Like Argentina is definitely a favorite out of South America. They're playing insane right now. I think they're on like 25. They're also undefeated. But Brazil's been disappointing.
Brazil's just falling off a cliff.
Yeah, like the players like Vinicius, Rodrigo. They're not playing with like the passion that we grew up in like 2014 and 2010, like the old Brazil teams. No, it's not Neymar anymore. It's a different Brazil.
Yeah. And it's so surprising because, like you said, they have all that talent, and they also have Carlo Ancelotti as their manager.
Yeah.
I mean, he's won Champions League, and he's getting them 5th in South America.
They're dropping points to Paraguay.
Yeah, I mean, in the old format before this year, they would have had to go to the playoffs. They would have had to go to the Interconfederation playoffs and qualify through that. I mean, it's been such a bad cycle where I think, Argentina is really the only impressive team in South America, and I think Europe kind of has what it takes to win this year. What do you think, Christian?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that to be completely honest with you, I think that we have to say that we have to expect the final to be a rematch again. I think that France has only gotten better. Argentina's kind of fallen off a little bit, but I just think that England hasn't been great the past few years. Germany, I mean, Florence Wirtz, they have a lot of great players. But it's all midfield and defenders that are great in Germany. I think that their attack, if they're in the penalty against Argentina or France, I don't see them winning.
See, I agree with you that France is definitely they're my favorite. Like when you have an attacking with Desiree Doué, Dembele, Mbappe, Ryan Cherki, they're so good. I don't think Argentina is making it. I agree they fell off, but I think you're forgetting probably arguably the best or second best team in the world right now, Spain. They just won the Euros. They came second in League Nations Cup last year. Like with Lamine Yamal, Nico Williams, with Pedri, Pedri, Xavi. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
They're they're insane.
It's like the Spanish teams of old. I mean, that dominant midfield that's just going to be able to control possession, just going to be able to make those passes. And I think they're really dangerous. And I think the biggest concern is that attack. I don't know if Spain has that striker that's going to be able to cut through and score those decisive goals.
Yeah, they could get caught, especially by teams like France with so much speed. I feel like their defense is quite open because they pass it about so much. They don't really like just stay in a defensive formation. They get caught.
That's fair.
The France defense is special, so I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
The attack, I mean, you talk about Spain being the best team in the world. Those young French defenders, I think that they'll have something to say about that. I really do.
Mendy, Konate,
There's another young European team that I kind of want to mention, though. I think the Netherlands. I think they're kind of a dark horse. I think they also don't really have that striker, that attack that can cut through in those decisive moments. But that midfield, that defense, they have Virgil van Dijk. They have, I mean, the talent that they have in that team. They might be my pick. I mean,
they're your pick to win the whole World Cup.
I think they might be.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. All right.
The defense is great. I'll give you that.
The defense is great, but their attacking is just like it's good. You know, they got Cody Gakpo and Memphis Depay, but outside of that, there's not much.
That's fair.
They overperformed in qualifiers, though. If they can keep that up, then maybe they really are.
I think they had a chance maybe in 2022 when they almost made it to the semis, but maybe
that's fair. I mean, we'll have to see. I cannot wait. I'm definitely going to some games in Dallas. I can't wait for the World Cup. That's all the time we have. This has been an incredible semester of SportsZone. The talent, the crew, everyone has developed so much. I mean, it's genuinely been the best semester I've had at NTTV, and it's because of everyone behind the scenes, on camera. I mean, just everyone has been doing their job at the highest level, and I feel honored to be with this team. Thank you so much. This is SportsZone signing off for the last time this semester. Have a great year.